Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
How utterly, hysterically poorly I'm going to pronounce one of the actors' names in this movie.
Oh, I have a very good idea of who that is.
Which one?
Sean Gunn.
Oh, no, I was going to say Bautista? Bautista?
Mm-hmm. It's
And
pronounced Sean Gunn.
Davi Bautista?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. We watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Volume
And if
3.
I may put a little bit of a pedantic flag down. Volume is for books. That's kind of my world. So how about you fucking back the fuck off and you just do part 3 like a little movie maker that you are. The novel world called It Wants Its Word Back.
Oh, but sick burn. Take that,
Yeah,
James
exactly.
Gunn.
But I mean, I guess it's a pun on like volume for like listening to his Zune, but still,
I guess.
you know, stop it.
Yeah. So, okay, correct me if I'm wrong on this,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be a lot of things that like I just straight up don't remember. So the whole thing in the first one was he had a tape from his mom. And that was the impetus for the soundtrack, because he listened to that same tape over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened in 2? Did he get a new tape?
Yes.
Okay.
2, well, the end of 1, so Peter has been holding on to a gift that his mom had given him.
Right.
That was still wrapped. And at the end of 1, the catharsis that he went through was, I can finally open this tape. And it was Awesome Music Mix Volume 2.
Volume 2. Okay.
Which is where the songs from 2 came from. And then at the end of 2, Kraglin says, hey, this is like the newest hot shit from Earth. It's called a Zune. It's got over 300 songs in it. And Peter's like, oh my fucking God, 300 songs?
Yeah.
And thus the soundtrack to this movie happens.
Okay.
As well as the scenes from the Avenger-y ones where they're in it.
Right. Because that
I
just
forget
felt...
which one it is, where they've got their own scene and they like, hang out with Thor. That one, they had a soundtrack too.
Yeah, because I just remember that being a... Because I honestly like do not remember much of 2 at all. But I just remember that being a big thing in 1. And like the music drops in this were so... Like they looked at a Cameron Crowe movie and went, that's too subtle.
Oh, really?
And it felt like whatever emotional thing it had in 1 absolutely just doesn't happen here. It's just a way for James Gunn to be like, check out this cool song. I know this song. And it fucking started driving me nuts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually have a note saying it's actually the first. I think it's one of the first needle drops, as the 60-year-olds say. When Rocket is singing "Creep," not that it was like, yeah, it's super on the nose, but I actually put it's kind of brave of James Gunn to use that kind of like obvious thing, because Rocket doesn't know that that's a played out like 17-year-old angst. Like that's not like, oh, I'm in senior year of high school and creep means everything to me. They don't know that. So
but James Gunn does. James Gunn, everyone behind this movie does. Like that was a conscious choice on their part. That wasn't like, what would Rocket think about this? It's a very on the nose thing. I get what you're saying. I just don't think that applies. I just don't.
See, I'm a big like watching a movie with no bringing as little baggage in as possible. I'm like, that was brave. I thought that was kind of cool. And also like the songs they chose.
I mean, the song, it was fine. I just couldn't help but think, like, I remember in the first one that this was supposed to have such an emotional weight to it. And that now it's just a gimmick. Now it's just, well, we're making these movies. I got to do this. And that kind of stunk. And just like a lot of times it was, well, let me just back up and overview my whole thing. So
I'll allow it.
The movie, I was sitting there going, okay, this is wrapping up. This was, you know what, this wasn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed this. I mean, it was slow in places, but all right. And then I was watching with my partner Hazel. They had to use the restroom, so I hit pause, and there was still a fucking hour left in the movie.
What do you remember what spot that was about?
They were getting on to that, like the planet with the animal people was about to blow up. And then somehow there was an hour left in the movie. Okay. A lot of my complaints about this movie are, oh my God, get on with it. And I felt like with so many of the music cue stuff, it was just like, now time for a musical number that didn't it didn't add a lot to it. It was either like on its face, super heavy, like the Creep thing, or it was like time for this sort of cool scene because we have this soundtrack we want to use. I felt like a lot of the soundtrack was trying to do a lot of heavy lifting that the movie wasn't providing.
See, I don't disagree. Well, I disagree with that last point, but I thought the needle drops were too heavy-handed, other than the Creep one, which was heavy-handed. But I like the idea of being bold enough to use that song. You know, it's like, I don't know. I just think it's a brave choice, and that's cool. No, I thought they like really laid too heavily on it, and especially the stuff that like doesn't have emotional relevance. So like when they did who did that? Jim B versus the evil robots. What's the name of that band?
That's a great example. That's Flaming Lips.
So I liked that. That part was, I thought, good. I'm like, oh, this works. He's in space. Like, it just kind of like it's there. It's for. But when they do Space Hog or whatever that song is, that one's like, all right. See, I bought the emotional impact of the what did you say that band was?
Flaming Lips.
I buy the Flaming Lips thing. It's like that gave me an emotional response. But now you can't just do another thing. Like, I don't know. It just like,
but they were just flying in space. Yeah. Why was that a big needle drop for that? They were just flying in space. It was
for the Flaming Lips one.
Yeah.
Well, it's Peter dealing with the whole Gamora thing.
I guess
his dead girlfriend is near him but doesn't love him anymore. Yeah. So yeah, I think the James Gunn of it isn't my favorite part of this movie. Like the needle drop stuff. I thought all of the character arcs were great, and everybody in this movie acted their ass off. Like even Chris Pratt, who I actively dislike. Like he like got me a couple times. Like when he was all upset that Rock was about to die, I'm like, God damn, dude, I forgot you were like likable.
I will say that Chris Pratt did not annoy me, that I worried he was going to. I thought he actually did a decent job.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. I think there was too much plot, frankly. For example, here's a fun thing. Like if you're worried that let's say you listen to like Alex Jones or something like that, and you are afraid that the human race is being taken over by pod people, by some sort of form of inhuman things, that they're not people anymore. Just show them this movie and ask them if they care at all about Sean Gunn's character. And if they do, that's not a human being. Human beings have way too much going on to give a shit about Sean Gunn's character. Why the fuck was any time spent with that guy? Was like, he was always just like an also ran. He had a couple of funny jokes. Okay. Why am I spending any amount of time? I hope he learns how to whistle and blow that thing. There's a billion other stories going on. I don't fucking care. I'm glad you gave your brother a job, man. That's great. But
so I have an answer for you, and I don't like it, but what I think it's that they didn't have time to mourn Yondu, and Quill had too much going on. So they needed someone to be sad about Yondu being dead.
See, but I remember them
they nominated.
I understand that. I just think they handled that enough in 2. I remember that much about 2, that Yondu dies and people are surprisingly sad because he was good, and that was about the amount of sadness that Yondu needed.
I suppose.
I just think this movie has no business being 2.5 hours. I'll just put that right out.
Agreed. I watched this is my third time watching it, and this time the length really got to me. And yeah, the Sean Gunn stuff jumped out at me as one, his physicality. I don't know how old of a man he is, but he feels old in this. Like he's got like a little pot gut, which is fine. Like I'm not like judging him, but he doesn't have like there's not an energy to him. Like he's not like someone that's going to go running. Like there's something like, and I don't think he's that strong of an actor. So him having that much time, but the reason I was not harsh with him the first couple times watching it is, he gives Cosmo someone to play off of. And I love Cosmo so much.
Yeah, I
like that entire that entire bad dog thing. And I don't even like dogs that much, but like, I was like, I love this thing. Like, I'm not going to watch a whole ass Cosmo show, but I was like, really, I'm enjoying my time with this space.
Cosmo
dog.
was in the first one too.
Yeah, like
it's I do not even remember that character at all. So.
No, it's not. The only reason I'm aware of it is because I always thought Laika the space dog that's based on.
Oh, sure.
Like, an incredibly stupid story that I'm like, this is amazing. So finding out that there's an alternate reality in the Marvel universe where there's like, it turns into a telekinetic dog. Hilarious. I think it's just in the background, like, or maybe it says like, Oije moi, hi.
Yeah, because I asked a friend of ours and he said the collector had it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I kind of remember that. I don't know.
Same as Howard the Duck, which shows up in this one. It's the same amount of screen time.
Now, see, like, the Howard the Duck thing, like that little cameo thing, that's fine. And I was kind of laughing because I'm like, I remember at the end of 2 that there were like all these like mid-credit scenes. That there was a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, oh man, they're setting up for like the next few movies. No, it was all just this movie. It was all just like a clearinghouse. That being said, I kind of, as much as I liked in the original Infinity Gauntlet comic, I liked Adam Warlock. I kind of like what they did with him, because when I found out it was Will Poulter playing him, I was like, what the fuck? How is Will Poulter playing Adam Warlock? But the fact that he's thawed too quickly or whatever, removed from the pod too quickly.
Yes.
That
so I remember telling you that because you said Will Poulter. I'm like, oh, you mean that guy that plays Adam Warlock? You're like, what the fuck? He's Adam? I'm like, yeah, dude.
I thought that was a funny joke, but like maybe the first 8 times, I just feel like they really like went back to that well too much, and like he just kept showing up, and it got very, very tiresome. But I'll never be upset about seeing Elizabeth Debicki. So that was fine.
Is that his mom?
That is mom. Yeah.
Yeah. She's hilarious in this. She doesn't have a lot to do, but like her face performance is fucking gold.
I've never got to see her be funny, so I enjoyed that.
I've got you. I'm there with they did Adam Warlock too many times. I don't think I'm not as far as you go. Like, let's say you said 8 times.
Yeah, no, it's only like 3 really, but I'm just
no. But what I mean is like, let's say your level of annoyance goes to an 8, out of 100, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm like 4 under you. Like, I found it annoying, but it's like. Will Poulter's fun to look at. Like he does good. Like all right, but yeah, they could have cut that down. There was also, there's just it's fat at times.
Mm-hmm.
But I just the character arcs that they managed to pull off. Like I'm so forgiving of some of the kind of Marvel faff that's in this.
I'm going to say a very a thing you're not going to like. I could have lost probably all the Rocket stuff, all of it.
Really?
Did not need any of that.
That's the point of the movie.
To who? Because like no one are they experiencing Rocket's flashbacks? Because it just would just like
the hologram part. Yeah.
Okay. With the hologram part? What's that? Which thing?
When they watch how he got experimented on.
Right. Okay. But like it seemed like so many of the flashbacks are just like, okay, this scene's over. Let's go back to the Rocket flashback, and then now here's the movie. Just a lot of that like just felt like the by making the animals like so real, it was just like, oh cool, I gotta watch more animal cruelty. That felt kind of gross. And I just like I kind of got the message. I didn't need to go back to that well that many times.
Hard disagree.
I also just don't care about Rocket in that way. I don't want to see a sad Rocket raccoon. I like that he's a psychopath. I don't need a sad guy. We have that.
Thank you. I am on the show still. I'm on I think 3 or 4, this is probably the 4th or 5th movie that Rocket's in. I'm tired of I'm just angry saying quips.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm like tired of it, but I like that they took him on why are you so fucked up? I love that journey. I was there for it, but the thing I really liked about it was that it's somewhat efficient in telling the High Evolutionary's backstory. Like, it's literally that guy's never. I don't even think he's been name dropped in the MCU.
No,
but by the end of it, I'm like, oh, I understand this man's character, his motivations. But we didn't have to have. There was one espousing villain speech, and Quill knocks the D's out of it. I thought that was like really efficient storytelling. It's like, oh, you're making me cry about these animals, but also you're giving me the backstory of the villain, which Marvel struggles at mightily unless your name is Thanos. That I thought it was like, oh, this is really efficient.
They also didn't do the thing where it's like, well, technically the villain's right, but he went too far, which I always hate. Because it's like, you know, like the Killmonger shit. But like, I like that he was like, no, this guy's an asshole and is kind of an idiot in his own way too.
It's like, I mean, the thing is like, he is kind of right, except for like the way he does it. Like him, like that's where he's like, there is no God. That's why I had to start doing this. Where it's like, fuck yeah, dude. Respect. Now, maybe don't blow up the planet of people after, like, you go, oh, okay, I'm not pleased with this. I'll just go to another planet. And then you just leave that one, like, that could be Earth, whatever. Like, yeah, just leave it. Leave the planet of rabbit ninjas or whatever. Just, that's fine. And then it'd be like, yeah, I'm on your side, High Evolutionary. It's I agree with him except for all of his plan.
Right.
He comes from a good place and turns out really, really, really poorly.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of it was really sort of driven home by the, I really frequently just did not enjoy looking at these animal characters. And then when at the end, when Rocket sees them in the afterlife, if I'm a walrus and in the afterlife, I still have wheels plugged into me so I can remember the time I was alive in a cage, I'd be pissed. Like, that doesn't say a whole lot about heaven. But that's just my own take on it, I guess.
Well, let me posit this to you. After Harry died, and meets up with Dumbledore in the dream projection.
Okay, I was just
King's
about to
Cross
mention
Station.
that's what that felt like. Is that scene
Yes,
did feel like that.
Dumbledore says, where are we? I don't know. This is, as they say, your party. And he's like, well, it looks like King's Cross Station. What I would say is this. They don't look like that in the afterlife.
Okay, good.
They look like that because Rocket is looking at them. Because if they just had if Jamie Heineman walked out and said, Rocket, it's good to see you again, you wouldn't go, oh, I recognize him from earlier in the film. You need a walrus with wheels.
Sure, right.
Fucking sick Mythbusters bird.
Yes.
Take that 15 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt so like maudlin and just like obviously ploy of like, why don't we have these cute animals that are put upon? And then it wouldn't bother me as much if they didn't just abandon that halfway through to be like, now it's the kids. Now we have to be worried about these kids. Like, just stay with the animals the whole time. Like, why did you add this whole other thing with these fucking kids? That was stupid.
I'm fine with it. Yeah, that's a good critique. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Because as far as this movie is too long, that would have been a good way to...
Yeah, well, because we need to give Drax really something to do and him some kind of growth. No, we don't. No, yeah. I don't. I would just like to have Drax be goofy and laugh at him. I don't need this deep maudlin character growth for every fucking character.
I think that's... Well, I mean, this is... Drax's growth is really something that, like, he's the more natural one. Like, he's been sad and fucked up. His whole backstory is, oh, everything I ever loved was murdered and now I want to destroy things. I think the Drax thing, which I quite liked in this movie, but I think it does fall a little bit into James Gunn trying to tie up a little bit too many loose ends, where I think it's pretty obvious that both Batista and Gunn sort of regret turning his character into a joke. Where he's supposed to be the destroyer, but he just gets his ass handed to him for the most part. That's why this movie, like, he actually fights kind of well, and like he kind of kicks the shit out of Warlock for a minute. Now he loses badly, but still, like, this is the first movie you're like, oh yeah, this guy actually could like wreck some shit.
Yeah, well, it was also a chance because like every character had to have their own death scene. Like they had to have an almost die and get pulled back. But I was also like, by the time it happened to Peter Quill, I was like, this means nothing now. I know you're not gonna. I don't care.
I enjoyed all that mostly because of the kind of Marvel fanness of it.
Oh, sure.
MCU fan of we know James Gunn is leaving. So by all other logic, we know most of the main cast doesn't have contracts anymore, or at least Batista.
Right.
All logic would say at least 2 of the Guardians die. I think Rocket has main character armor on because you're not going to spend a whole movie trying to save him and then just have him die. That's just, I mean, maybe you would, but like, that's not going to happen. So like, I honestly thought Drax was going to be dead. Like that scene where he's fighting Nathan Fillion. I was like, this would be a perfect moment if you're going to kill him. Cause it's out of nowhere. You're just like, you would just be the like, wait, what? Drax is dead? Like, and then the rest of the movie is fucking, you have to like, we still have to save Rocket, but now my friend's dead. So yeah, that could have been. I should have done that. I'll write to James Gunn and make him do it better.
There was some. I think it was just someone on Twitter that had a comment about like, it's at this point now that regardless of whatever you put Nathan Fillion in, it's stunt casting, and I don't care in this one. Like he was fun. He was fun. That whole Orgo sphere section was probably my favorite bit, just because
it's really good.
It really capitalizes on James Gunn's like trauma background. With like, it's gross. Like when they carve out the chunk of like the cell of skin to get in there, it's disgusting and gross. And I loved it.
That pus fountain in the middle of the fighting around.
And it's just like the fact that you got that into a Marvel movie is great. And like the way, like the way his face looked at the end, the high evolutionary. Although I don't know why he didn't just like grow himself a new entire face. And it seemed like that'd be something he could do, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. But like so I like that he was able to do that, and that whole section was strange and funny. So I will definitely give him credit for that.
That whole section was great. Since we're out of order. We're never going through this movie step by step. So the things I love about that. This movie has what I was saying with the kind of efficient storytelling of getting Rocket's backstory while getting the villain story. The way that we saw Gamora go from I want to kick this guy in the balls to like hey, pretty nice. So like, one, Zoe Saldana is fucking amazing in this. Not that this role is really difficult, but the fact that you're the same in quotes character from multiple other movies and you manage to pull off a very different performance.
Yes.
is super impressive to me. But watching Quill, and I think this also really helps the Chris Pratt of it all, him being like terrible now, is watching her get impressed by him. You're like kind of get impressed too, where it's like it's this efficiency that happens where it's kind of like when he's like flirting with that red lady, Ratcatcher from Suicide Squad.
Oh, is that who that was?
Yeah. Oh. And the lady that gets shot in the leg is James Gunn's wife. There was a possessive S I didn't pronounce there. Everybody at home, I know I fucked up. But I was like, oh, this is kind of great. Like, and then Gamora going nuts. But then the turnaround where Quill does the impassioned, if I speak from my heart, they're gonna listen.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, no, lady, I just needed access to your computer.
Or he Han Solos it. Yes, like that was nice.
And I'm like, oh, that's. Yeah, it's like that's the Star Wars the Star Wars, that's the Star Lord that I liked for the one movie.
Yeah, because I was like, they're not. I don't know. I was kind of rolling my eyes at that but they got me. Like, yeah, I totally.
Me too. I really thought that was going to be an actual moment. Yeah,
it was fun. Less good in the acting department. What was Karen Gillan doing? What was any of that?
That sequence of Quill kind of falling for her. I was kind of like there for it for a second of like, hey, maybe they get together. And again, kind of efficient storytelling of like, well, then one of the kind of character arc things is, Mantis going like, you keep bouncing from girlfriend to girlfriend and you're a fucking mess. How about you stop being a mess instead of like finding someone new? And I think Nebula had a bit of that going on too, of like, now that the only thing she cared about, killing her dad, is over, what do you do next? Like, how do you find out who you are as a person?
Sure.
When the thing that, and I just thought it was like, but yes, her and Mantis had, every time they talked to each other, I felt like something was wrong. Like there was like miscommunication on the set. Like there was something really weird about that. Like there was a few moments of her, especially when she's talking to Mantis, of just like, I don't know what's going on with you. Like, did you have a minor seizure? It was really awful.
I just felt like the whole performance was like Adrian Brody in Predators, where it's like, I'm a tough guy, so I talk like this. It just felt so like put on. It didn't feel natural at all. And like this isn't Nebula's first movie, and I don't remember having that issue in the past, but it certainly felt that way in this one. Maybe because she had more to do, but like. It just it
I only picked up on it when she was talking to
believable
Mantis
at all, any of it. And I don't think Karen Gillan's necessarily a bad actress. Like, she did an American accent in Oculus, I believe, which is not a movie I enjoyed, but she was fine in it. But this was just like, it just would take me out of it every scene she was in.
Well, I'm just saying that if you say anything bad about Amelia Pond, I will stomp over to your house and just.
I mean, what
literally not remember where your house is.
What could I say worse than she was on Doctor Who? Like, what is a lower thing than that?
You're lucky I have bad geography skills, or I'd be at your house right now, waving my fist in the air.
It's a good thing we're not talking about Ahsoka tonight.
How dare you? All right. Oh wait. Speaking of that, audience at home. Before we move on to our next point, John and I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/AlexBollen, AlexBollen. We just put out like a delightful little chat that John and I had, just chatting about, just shooting the breeze, just two bros broing out. Yeah. And if you'd like to join, you should do that because it's cheap and there's like dozens of hours of audio that you get for like $5. So join that.
So I have a question about the Orgo company or whatever, or the High Evolutionary.
Yes. I would love to have an answer.
Who, by the way, whose name in the comics is Herb. Like his name is Herb Wyndham in the comics.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he's like just some guy from Earth.
He's some guy, and like he goes. There's a whole lot of machinations that happen that he ended up like in this sort of astral thing, and they made it sound like Earth was unfamiliar to him, but it's like whatever, Herb, whatever, man. But okay, so when he made Counter Earth, because the whole thing, they find out that he has been testing on animals because he wanted to make human style animals to all live together in this Dr. Moreau sort of way of like, then we could eliminate racism, I guess, by having all these different animals that would feed on each other, live in harmony. Now, but he said he was inspired by Earth because it was like that we produce such amazing culture and literature and stuff like that. And so like, what if I was able to recreate that without all the torment or like the conflict and stuff like that? So did he design Counter Earth to be exactly like Earth?
That is what I took from it, is that he like just built the planet to look like 1974 Earth or whatever that was.
Because that's sort of,
or maybe 1960 something, and they evolved in somewhat of a similar. But like I think he just put cars there, like he just plopped a bunch of people down on an Earth-like planet. That like literally had a Abraham Lincoln as an ape. Oh wait, no, different terrible joke in a movie.
But very similar. Because
to be fair, I actually did kind of like the Statue of Liberty gag, just because he's holding like a monkey or something. It's so stupid.
Well, because it was less like, oh, it's Abraham Lincoln, but it's a monkey, but more just like, look at how great I am. That kind of it lets you in on the self-aggrandizement of this guy. And like I did like Chakudi Iwuji's, like, he was eating up the scenery in a way I did not mind.
Oh my God, is he perfect?
He was fun.
When he's yelling at Rocket the first time, and he does like a sumo squat while pointing at him and screaming, I'm like, that is some of the best physical acting I've seen. It is so it's simultaneously funny and terrifying. Like, that guy is so good. He's in Peacemaker. I think James Gunn wrote this role for somebody else, and then like he's doing Peacemaker, and he's like, oh yeah, fuck that guy. Like, this is you're my dude.
Yeah. I mean, I will say for as harsh as I'm being on this movie, like, I do like that it did have a more authorial voice than a lot of Marvel stuff. Like, you were right that some of my complaints about being too fucking long is still a very Marvel complaint I have for Marvel movies, but it didn't feel as bland as those.
My main thing that I was talking to you about, I'm glad you brought that up, is you've often complained. Not complained. You've often pointed out a flaw.
You can call it complaining.
Yeah, I know, but like complaining like kind of intimates that you're wrong in it. Like you've right.
I will call it complaining because it's still right.
Yeah, but generally you're wrong. So I just want to make clear.
Fair enough.
No, but when you point out that like Marvel likes doing the thing of like, I've never loved anyone more, and my life is forever yours. Fart noise, monkey falls in your head. Like, it just, you ruin every single like actual emotional beat with a dumb joke. And this movie pretty much doesn't do that.
Yeah.
The only emotional part that has a joke in it, and I think works, is the hug at the end, where Will Poulter's like, all right, I guess I'm in on this.
That was fine.
And it's not like a joke, but it's like, it's still, the emotion's still there, everything still works.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing that James Gunn pulled it off, because between him, I think Joss Whedon is the one to directly blame for this, but James Gunn certainly took the ball and ran with that.
I mean, that was...
And this one, he like figured it out. Like, I think he really hit the tone right.
I think that was part of my complaint with Super, his movie that we did so long ago. I think that stuff didn't bother me as much. I think it stayed true to, but like almost to a fault. Like I said, there was a lot of this that was way more maudlin than I expected. And I think that's probably why I was a little tired of the Rocket stuff. Cause I'm like, I got Peter Quill, like, tears in his beer. And now I got Rocket doing that too. Like, who's fun here?
That's true.
And that's kind of like, it just lacked that kind of spark that the first one had. And obviously it's the third one. It's not going to have that, but it didn't seem as fun.
No, it doesn't seem as fun, but I think for me that works, like especially where the MCU is at this point. But I want to point out, I think this is one of the best openings in any movie ever. Is when they do the superhero badass getting together shot, but it's Quill is completely shit-faced drunk being carried towards the camera, and everybody's just kind of like sad and walking. I'm like, that is fun. I don't know. I really like that. I never thought of the other way to do that, of to like do the badass getting together shot, but it's just everybody's a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, I will also say that. So, like I mentioned, I watched this with my partner we had seen the first one together. Never saw two. Really, has never seen any other Marvel movies. I think for the most part. But I was like,
really?
I was like,
wow.
If you have any questions, let me know. And they didn't really. Like, there were certain things, like, I think I mentioned, like, so Gamora died because I'd kind of forgotten Gamora died in Infinity something, one of the Infinities.
One of them.
Endgame or something like that, where I'm like, I didn't really understand it at the time, but whatever. So she died and he's sad about that. And I was like, oh, I guess she's back. I don't remember her coming back, but whatever. The movie explained it enough that you could grasp what was going on.
Yeah. That's the other scene I loved when they're at OrgoCorp, is where in the elevator, Peter just gives a massive exposition dump with Gamora in the elevator, Nebula on the other side, Ratcatcher too, just staring at camera, but him just going like, yeah, but then my girlfriend died, but then she came back, she's a total jerk, but for some reason, magic space people don't, I'm not an Infinity Stone scientist, and it's a fun Chris Pratt thing. I'm like, oh, I remember I used to like you like a decade plus ago, but this is where like Karen Gillan, where she just like, yeah, I mean, he left out some pretty big details, but yeah, overall it's pretty much the thing, which is, I don't know, I just think that's a fun wrap up, because that speech in a different movie would end in a million ways of Gamora punching him in the balls or shooting, like there's a lot of dumb ways to end that, and just the stoic abuse survivor cyborg lady not even calling him stupid, just going like, yeah, that's pretty much it. But good summary, Wikipedia.
Well,
I thought it was fun.
And the fact that it was like, that it's all ridiculous, and he kind of knows it's ridiculous, but at the same time, he has to deal with this. I did like that aspect of it. That it wasn't just like, here we go again, or some quippy thing away. Like, it was like, this is all dumb and whatever, but like, I'm being genuine in explaining it because this is a thing that's affecting my life right now. And I did enjoy that. Then I do think a lot of the humor did not feel as forced as some of the other Marvel stuff, as you kind of referenced earlier. I thought that was handled a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I kind of made this point before, but like Gamora in that kind of elevator thing and watching him deal with like Red Lady, her kind of gaining respect for him, I thought was really subtly done and well done, to the point that like they've got like a make cute, we were gonna kiss moment, and the person that looks like he's not into it is Quill. Yeah. Which is like an amazing trick he pulled over the course of, I mean, admittedly, the movie is 16 hours. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's Das Boot length. But the fact that he pulled that off with a frankly not very good actor doing the work, it's pretty impressive to me. Also, in that Orga Corp scene, that guy that Mantis makes fall in love with Drax, on the closed captioning, apparently his name is Beetle Snort.
He does mention that, because when they're walking away, he's like, as for me, I'm Beetle Snort. Or I didn't catch it. I thought it was someone else, but yeah.
I might be wrong. I typed it out real quick because it was on closed captioning. I didn't feel like pausing and rewinding for something that it's going to be 4 seconds of our show.
Yeah, but I got to kick that. And then the runner also in that of Nathan Fillion just being like, "Oh, you have an idiot? Yeah, I got one of those too." And
that's really fun.
I thought he was. I mean, Nathan Fillion is a funny, charming guy. So.
And you were saying this is, I think you kind of covered this in the trauma comment you made, but like very specifically, I love how dog shit ugly their uniforms
are. They're terrible.
It's gross and terrible, and it feels really good. Did I already mention that Lloyd Kaufman is in the dog playing poker scene?
No, but that doesn't surprise me.
But there's a Lloyd Kaufman.
Shoot. I told you about I gotta hear him speak here in town at a porno theater. Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I was brand new at my job. We rented production equipment, and some guy that my friend Tony knew, was bringing Lloyd Kaufman to speak and thought it'd be funny to do it at this place called the Jefferson Street Theater, which used to be a very nice theater, fancy old theater in Portland. And like a lot of old theaters turned to pornography because they weren't bringing butts in the seats. They were megaplexes anymore. And, he talked, and it was the whole day was weird. I could do just a whole Patreon episode about it. But there was a guy there who was writing a book about what I was just talking about theaters turning into porno theaters. I was getting a tour around the same day. And he ended up living in the apartment building that I was living in at the time. And so we'd see each other in the hallway. And there was always the weird, like, neither of us were there for that reason, but we saw each other at a porno theater. And we don't know each other.
That's funny.
Yeah.
When they steal the thing that they can watch the hologram of Rocket getting, vivisected, essentially. Nebula's comment of, "This is worse than what Thanos did to me." No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely is not.
That's decades of torture that you're slowly having your body replaced like some kind of fucked up ship of Theseus thing. Like, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get that they're trying to like do like an important, but like that needed another pass, Mr. Gunn. Like, I think that was a little on the lazy side.
I think that's kind of why I don't like some of the animal stuff, is that it just feels like the strangle the cat or whatever. Like, it just feels like this really cheap and easy way to get sympathy. And I don't know.
I had a thought watching the one of the background scenes of it's when Rocket first meets Lila and Floor and Teefs before they have names. He's like, "Oh, does it have language yet?" And he's like, "Hurt." and it's really close up on his face. I was just thinking, like, I know it's impossible because we don't, like, beyond the time travel aspect, there's no way you couldn't even, the DVD players didn't exist. But like somehow bringing this back to, I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
Bring this back to like 1957 or whenever most movies were in color, 1963, and showing someone that scene. What would their eyeballs see?
Yeah.
Like that's impossible. There's no, like, you can't like, they have no frame of reference to make that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like other than like in the future you bred talking rabbits that you tortured. Like there's no, like, it's an impossible thought. It was just one of those like, oh man, I kind of in the afterlife I hope there's a way that's like you can walk through a door that says fuck with people from the past. And one of the things I would do is show them the scene.
I thought, and I probably talked about it on the show before, but like a while ago,
not like I would know.
That's true. A while ago, this movie group I'm in, we get together and watch movies. Someone submitted Dreamscape, which is a 1980s movie with Dennis Quaid where they enter people's dreams. And so much of the movie is like making sure that you understand that concept. Or in the same way that like when Dune came out, there were some theaters that were like handing out like glossaries. Like they're going to use a lot of crazy sci-fi terms. So make sure you know what's going on. Whereas now that's just a given. Like you're just accepting that. And so that's weird. Like that progression of where we've gone to with movies of just like, we're like, yeah, no, I understand this completely ridiculous high concept thing. It's just wild to think that was hard to understand at one point, but
and it's just, I mean, obviously it's never going to happen, but man, that's, I think that's the best way to use time travel. So we'll do, when they go to Counter Earth, I'm very torn because I think that whole sequence is fun. Of whether or not I'm annoyed by them going to the Bat People's house and hanging out.
Yes.
I think I like it, but also like maybe I don't. Like I actually, like, it's weird. Like I have a strong feeling, but I don't know which direction it would go.
I think like in my whole thing of like this movie's entirely too fucking long, you could lose that. In the moment, it didn't bother me. You know, it was a fun little thing. Oh, it's an explanation and trying to communicate with these people. It was this neat moment, but at the same time, like that could have happened on the street, you know, whatever. In the grand scheme of things, yeah, it didn't need to happen, but it didn't bother me as much as some of the. I think some of it was also because I was still on board. And I think that's why some of the later stuff I'm more annoyed with, like the kids being involved and just the movie's steadfast refusal to fucking end.
Them being in the Bat People's house leads to what I think is the most controversial scene in this film. Not because Chris Pratt uses the MCU's first F word.
Mm-hmm. And thank God for that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't even, unless I read think pieces about it, it never would occur to me that I even like it, whatever. Yeah. It was natural. But it gave me that moment of when you're high in high school of, yeah, man, pushing a button is like something that's totally just indoctrinated into us. Like if you've never lived in a world with a mechanical push button, you wouldn't know to do that. But then also I was like, no, but she's like really smart. And there's literally two options. There's a thingy and a thingy. Just you could push or pull on them.
Yeah.
So controversial take is I don't know what to think about that. John, will you decide for me, please?
You love it.
No, I want to know what you think.
I honestly don't remember what you're talking about. Not that like
when Nebula doesn't know how to open up the car door.
You
push the button.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that little scene just because it was dumb, but like, and just the fact she's pushing on the keyhole. Yes. If that wasn't there, maybe I would hate it, but it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I think I like it, but it's who cares? I mean, you know who cares? The audience at home, because they're here to listen to me say dumb shit.
But am I not wrong? Like, so Counter Earth died, right? The thing like pulled out of Counter Earth
at the end of this movie. Yeah, he genocided his planet.
Cool. Just making sure that gets out there, because it was kind of. Don't worry about it. Moving on.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying, from a sci-fi perspective, I will give you a one-word argument.
Alderaan. Yeah.
But it's you know stupid, what? But it's just we've accepted that blowing up an entire species is something you can get over the course of a hyperspace.
And that drives me nuts. I mean, that was my gigantic complaint about Man of Steel is that he just destroyed this whole city and then was like kissing his girlfriend in the ashes of it. And it was supposed to be like, yeah, it's all fine. Like that doesn't like Alderaan was at least like at a, like we didn't see anyone in Alderaan. There's still the impact of, oh my God, this is how far they're going to go. They're going to blow up this entire planet. This was like, oh, this sucks, I'm leaving. And then we've been introduced to people and then we're supposed to just like forget about it and move on. I just thought that was, I'm just not, it's not a thing specific to this movie. I just thought we were done doing
No,
that,
I didn't like it either, to be honest.
I guess not.
It's flippant.
Yeah.
On the Rule 34 note,
great segue, quality segue.
Yeah.
From,
you got it.
From mass murder to Rule 34.
From the master podcasting, Alex Boylan brings you this statement.
The original bad boy.
Yeah, the original bad boy. Oh, I forgot about the original bad boy podcasting. I declared that one episode, then forgot. How'd you feel about Gamora taking a dump?
I felt it was very like James Gunn.
Yeah. Throbbing hard on.
Okay. Just a thumbs up, thumbs down would have worked, but okay.
Well, that is a thumb, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Most people's aren't prehensile.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know what James Gunn history is regarding this, but there was a fair amount of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle references. Mm-hmm. So like, there's the turtle, like it's grown to human proportions and super thing, but then they cut to like the monsters. I don't remember what they call them, like the genetic freaks that like he uses to protect the ship. Yeah, but like they look like Bebop and or Rocksteady. War Pig, I forgot which one
and I forgot what the other one's name is, but yeah, they're kind of like weird versions of that.
So, like, is this like an inside joke? Like, did he write for like? I'm not saying you know the answer, but like, it's weird that there's like kind of a direct reference that like doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, I'd get if it was Toxic Avenger or something because Trauma, but I don't. What do you have to do with Eastman and Laird?
He was having fun with, I guess.
Weird.
Which I did not know that War Pig was Judy Greer, who I always enjoy. So that was kind of funny because I did like that moment where like she's in the ship and like just puts on that like operator voice about like no one's here and
What movie was it that I fell in love with Judy Greer? Do you remember?
Pottersville?
It was. Hold on. No. Is that a Patreon only episode? That was.
Yeah.
So join up on the Patreon. You can listen to us talk about Pottersville, the movie with Zod dressing up like Bigfoot.
Oh God, it's so bad.
And the thing is, that's not even me saying some bullshit weird things.
Yeah,
that's literally what happens in that movie. Yeah. I mean, assuming you call that actor Zod, and because you forgot his name.
You called him Zod.
No. I'm saying I was saying that from the outside.
Oh, I see.
Assuming,
I thought you were accusing me of not knowing who Zod
was. No. I was just saying like it is truth. Assuming that you're an idiot like me, they can't remember that guy's name. Michael Shannon. Yeah, I did remember. You know what I just realized like a few sentences ago? How I forget everything. Mm-hmm. I just casually remembered Eastman and Laird, the guys that wrote.
No, it sucks. I have the same disease.
Why was that in my brain? Yep. I don't remember any. I forgot we didn't do old. Like my brain is melting, and then you just pull Eastman up. Like if you said, "Hey Alex, do you know who wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?" I would be like, I would have no fucking idea. But somehow in the middle of a sentence, I just pull that shit out. I pull that shit out like Gamora in the refresher.
Yeah, there's just too much information. It's just it's all over the shop. But then some of the stuff is still filed correctly, and so we're able to just get that. But
yeah, I don't like it.
But yeah. I don't even remember, like, what were the kids?
They're just more experiments. Okay. Like, they're going to be the planet after the Counter-Earth, is the idea.
Yeah.
Because they show that one running in the hamster wheel and saying, like, she's been running for, 2 hours and she's only burned 30 calories or whatever. It's like, that's the next, that's kind of next. That was the other thing about the High Evolution. Now, I don't remember him from the comics at all. But I liked in this is that, like, in parts of the galaxy, he's referred to, like, he's thought of as a god. And I like that he like bred those gold people as like, oh yeah, they're just aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like I just bred them because I thought they'd be pretty. And like that's kind of like fun for a villain, background.
Yeah, just like I'm always a fan of just like vulgar displays of power. Like one of my favorite things in the Endgame movie was that I think it's called the Mouth or something like the Maw. That like guy of Thanos who's just like casually like doing magic and destroying.
Oh yeah,
everyone.
Magic Boy.
Yeah. And I love that kind of shit where it's just like I'm not straining to use my power. This is nothing to me. But I do with that guy, like I there's part of me like, okay, well, I can appreciate the sort of critique. You could take it as kind of a critique of these Silicon Valley weirdos that are just trying to fix things that don't need fixing to a certain degree and making things worse and doing all this stuff. And the sort of the individual is this sort of this God complex kind of thing. But that doesn't really ring as well when it's from Disney, and then the whole Marvel thing started with Tony Stark, which is
True.
That's kind of his deal.
Didn't think about that, but very true.
But granted, it's an extreme that Tony Stark wasn't at, and you could argue that he grew emotionally.
No, but still, it's the same kind of thing.
It's the same kind of fucking thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. But also, that was a lot of years before this movie, so I'm allowed to forget.
Yeah, I mean,
because I don't remember.
You're allowed to. Disney's not.
So we get a bunch of nice action sequences. I like the bit where, well, it's not an action sequence, where Mantis realizes that she can kind of psychically join with those disgusting monster things, the Abelisk or whatever.
Yeah, those weird worm guys.
Which, sorry, I shouldn't call them disgusting. That's being Abeliskist.
That's okay. That's still acceptable.
Such a dumb joke.
I enjoyed it.
It's so stupid. As I was saying, it was I hope I could finish this without giggling because this is so dumb. Yeah, that was fun. And then it leads into that, the No Sleep Till Brooklyn hallway fight.
Ooh.
Which the...
Ooh.
See, I loved it. That fake oneer, that one shot where they, make the virtual camera go through the whole...
No, that was fine.
So
the music drop was a lot. I didn't need that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, got no point. Literally, if that hallway fight wasn't as cool as it was, I would be on the exact same page as you.
Yeah.
But that hallway fight was badass, so I was like, yeah, it's all right.
No, that was fun. I enjoyed that. More so than when they go into the high when Quill and Groot go into the High Evolutionaries office thing to get that one guy, and they do gun kata. They absolutely do gun kata, and I was losing my mind. So
here's the thing, though.
Thank you, Equilibrium.
Quill actually gun katas previously in the films. Anytime he takes out the blaster things, he kind of gun katas a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. That's I got no argument with that. That's just, it's very posy.
I'm no space genius. I'm no futuristic sci-fi hero, but if you're going to remove a computer thing from a guy's head, because they're there to try to remove this computer headset thing from one of the High Evolutionaries minions, because it has information about Rocket, how to save Rocket. I wouldn't do that underwater. I think just generally electronics and water generally don't go well together. But
if I may somewhat disagree with you, I would say that the main flaw of what happens in that film is not so much the water, is the precipitous 40-story fall that he now shoves that man's body, and by extension head, where all the memories are, into the ground.
Yes.
So much to the point that he hits so hard that he's dead and then falls in water. Yeah. So it was an impact trauma followed by inundation.
Don't worry about it, folks.
Yeah, totally.
Whatever. I mean, that was just okay. I was willing to kind of hand wave that away, but it was a little silly.
So, but things happen. There's the final confrontation with the High Evolutionary, and I just realized the dumb joke that James Gunn put in, and I guarantee he did this, is that Peter Quill saying, "Nah, man, this is not a trap. It's a face-off." Mm-hmm. And I think that's a face-off joke. Yep. From the movie where they go face off.
And then eventually his face gets torn off.
Yeah, and I was like, good for you, sir, because that's a dumb pun, and there's no way he didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
That is a seeded pun for idiots like me with broken brains to go, yeah, well done. Yeah.
I also like, though, that the High Evolutionary wasn't oh, and guess what? I'm also super tough. He is just a guy. You know what I mean?
He's just a guy. He's got some kind of gravity power.
Yeah, he still had. Yeah, I mean, he still had a bunch of people fighting for him or whatever. When they got to him, it wasn't this super he was dispatched fairly easily, but that was sort of expected. I didn't mind that. It's a nice change of pace from being oh, and I'm also super powered.
Yeah, so he dies, and they like they save all the kids, and they have to go back and save all the animals. Which, by the way, nice subtle ad for games done quick. Super Metroid. I fucking see you.
Yep.
That's a joke for 3 people.
I'm one of them, and I enjoyed it.
Oh, really? I literally wasn't sure if you'd get the save the animals joke. So I was like, I'm gonna couch this.
I do it every time. Every time I play it,
well done.
I get them.
Well fucking done, John. Audience at home, fuck you.
Play Super Metroid. How about that?
Yeah,
one of the greatest games.
Deal with it. It really is one of the best games ever. So they're escaping, and this is a spot that I think is, maybe I missed it in a previous movie, but Quill is running away and he has to do like a cool jump from ship to ship, and he shoots like compressed air to give him, all that's good. In every other time I've seen him in film, he's got that Joop Joop mask where he pushes the button and his mask like covers his whole ass face. Now, I'm not expecting you to remember, but maybe somebody at home can answer. Was in a previous movie, did that mask get like broken? Because it seems like that'd be a really good time to put on that mask. And he definitely didn't.
Yeah.
And then there was another, oh, by the way, what was all with all the weird Michelangelo references in this movie? Because there's the creation of man with Will Poulter coming in and like touching it. And then there was like the part with like the Pieta with him and his mom. Like,
I don't know. I
missed that.
It was a completely, I mean, maybe there's a bigger through line that I missed, but like that to me felt so empty. It was like, hey, why don't we just make it look like that? That's fun.
I missed that too. That was genuinely strange for me. And this isn't one of those things where normally I can go, it was probably cut out. No, this movie's long as shit. Mm-hmm. There's no way there was a whole plot that got cut out. And if it was, that plot was well stupid.
Yeah.
So Quill goes back for the Zune. And it's, man, I get it when it's the thing that your mom gave to you.
Yeah.
Like, but you have a spaceship.
But
now you can just fly back to Earth.
But now it's rocket.
You can fly back to Earth.
Thing we need to get rockets.
No, you can't be Alex in this case. No,
I thought Rocket's best friend was a Groot. I thought that was the dynamic. I didn't know that they were so buddy. That this is trying to sell that.
Well, you missed it a little bit. Groot's dead.
Oh, I thought he was still ahead.
No. Groot from the first movie that Rocket was friends with is dead.
Okay, so this is
a cutting from that plant.
Right. So it's not the same Groot. I got you.
So there's a subtle thing that happens here that I really like, is because there's spots where Groot looks really sad when he's around Gamora, but when you realize that's his mom basically, because she was on the ship from when he was like a little stick guy dancing at the end of the one movie.
Yeah.
So his entire life, he knew this lady as essentially like at least one of the foundational like feminine figures in his life. And she doesn't remember him and doesn't understand his speech anymore. And the first time I was watching him, like, why does he have like sad face? I was like, okay, now I get it. And and that scene got me where she understood him. It's like, I got it. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that kind of, again, the character development was so good in this.
With her, I'll totally give that. I think they handled that plotline really well. And I liked how it ended up. And there was an arc there, but it wasn't like, turns out I actually love you and everything's great. It was like, okay, I've softened up. It was like, I don't hate you now. So good. That's where we're at.
Well, but I also love the Batista one, which is a more dramatic of a thing, but like he was humbled by his revenge thing. He had nothing to do in life, and it's literally everybody being like, obviously you're there to be a dad. Like you're a funny, like, I mean, it's actually kind of reflective of the Batista thing of like, I showed up in movies to be a badass killer, and it turns out I'm like a funny, lovable guy. And and the end is like, I'm just a funny, this is great. I get to hang out with these kids, and I don't know. I don't know. I really like all of the plot, the character guys, except for Kraglin. There's nothing I can do about it. And the Gamora going back to the Ravagers at the end was stupid because she's been gone for about 2 days.
Yeah.
Why is everybody hugging her? Like she's literally gone for 2 days. They don't know what happened.
To the point that she didn't recognize the people that she was calling on the radio, that they were, that Elizabeth Debicki could just be like, hello, I'm British, and you just are going to accept this.
Baffling scene. I would get that in a post credit.
Yeah.
But in the actual movie, that was you know what I did love though, before she leaves, is the goodbye between Gamora and Nebula is they both grunt at each other. Big fan.
So as sort of a how would you rank the villains of the 3 Guardians movies?
I would say High Evolutionary and Lee Pace Hammer Man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping you tell me his name. But you don't remember
no, I'd have to look it up. It's like it's like on the tip of my tongue.
Ronan.
Ronan, yes.
Ronan the Accuser.
That's right.
I would say that Ronan the Accuser and High Evolutionary are kind of tied. And then distant second/third is Kurt Russell as Ego. Because nothing against Kurt Russell, but that whole movie just it's sophomore slump as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, there's no there's just
that's probably why I don't remember much of it. The thing I don't remember really liking Ronan the Accuser. There's a critic I like a lot, Gretchen Felker Martin, who referred to Ronan the Accused as basically he's Lemon Grab from
100%. Yeah, unacceptable. Yeah.
And so I thought that High Evolutionary was an upgrade for a villain for them.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I did like so Ronan the Accuser, him being just a pure badass, like early in the film when he's like the first you get interested in him being like powdered and like put into his armor.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gets his markings by smashing a dude's head with a mallet and then like kind of bathing in his blood. Like that's part of his daily like upkeep routine.
Yeah.
That's kind of awesome. Like, although he does kind of get owned at the end, but still, like that was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're all agree that Ego was kind of stupid.
Yeah, that not great.
Yeah, and then they dance at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a non-dancer, but I did like this as a symbol of they're finally free of the fetters of all the shit that came before. Like I was into that, and I think Batista's choice of how to dance, I don't think another person has understood their character as well as him.
No, yeah.
That is exactly how Drax would dance. Like, that is perfect. There's no other way. The James Gunn does the mocap for Groot in the dancing thing. And it doesn't really fit the song. Like, it's kind of the beat's a little off, and it's really off.
I had a TV teacher in high school who's this is in Omaha, Nebraska, and he was from LA. And he had done background acting in certain things, and he showed us a reel of some stuff he did, and it was Head of the Class, that TV show.
Okay.
And they're at a school dance, and he's like, the music, I forget what he said, but it was like the music they played when they were filming it. I forget what it was, but it was some like hot, bopping 80s tune. And so he rushes in the back, is doing that just total 80s dance. But it was like a super slow song in the final show.
Yes, exactly. I don't know what they played on set.
Big shout out Dave Harold. Yeah. But I don't know that whole end bit, like, and again, I'm not the target audience here. I don't know. Don't really care about Mantis's big choice. I mean, like, I understand the through line. It's fine. But like, I don't know. She's walking away, going to go do something else. That's fine. Great. I don't care.
I don't care about that either. But the fact is, she's been in the movie and in a bunch of movies.
Yeah,
like just kind of giving her, because it's not.
They didn't do too much
that
with
long.
It.
Just kind of exactly. I'm fine with like just She leaves with her cool like, come on babies, fun line. Palm Colin Teef is like a uniquely interesting person to watch.
Mm-hmm.
She reminds me of that lady from, I don't remember the actress's name, but the lady from The Crow.
Oh, Bai Ling,
the bad guy. Yeah,
how dare like that is such an insult to another human.
No, not like acting wise, but just like this, like what's happening? Like I don't understand. What I don't get.
Like I have no idea what you're going to do next. Like there's no way for me to predict what you're going to do.
No. Palm Colin Teef is like a million times more like rational and knows how to act. But there's like that same like I don't really know what's going to happen next. So they dance and they decide that the Guardians are sort of breaking up, but they make Rocket the new leader, which I thought was nice. They do the little salute, and Quill goes back to visit his grandpa. And I'm not saying I cried at this scene, but boy, did I get choked up. Because like, one, no one likes me and wants me around. It seems really nice that like I could just walk in after a long number of years and someone would be like, Alex, and be like really excited and like, want me there. So maybe it's a bit of wish fulfillment, but like, that was nice. And that like little quiver in his voice where he's like, Pete? So good.
Yeah, it's also like I don't know that I would be able to recognize someone after like 30 some years if they were like a little kid and then seeing them. I don't know. I'm not saying it's not possible. Because there's certainly like some people, like you go to like a high school reunion or something, you're like, oh my God, like you look exactly the same as you did when you were a teen.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think in the like he's obsessed with, like he's got all the pictures on the wall.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not
like,
saying it's like
everyday
it was.
yeah.
It's like that wouldn't happen. I'm just my own.
But there is a bit of suspension of disbelief. But the fact that they did establishing shots of like there's pictures of Pete on the wall of his house. It's like he's still he's still on his mind. Because also it's like you ever hear those stories of like their daughter disappeared and like 15 years later somebody with like different colored eyes like be like no, I'm your daughter, no, my eyes changed because like the kidnappers
we were just talking about the imposter and like a couple of
yeah. So that was good. Did you watch the after credits?
I watched the bit where they were talking about music, and then I kind of
So you meet the new Guardians, which is who cares? And I like that part where the Guardians are all laughing and having fun together, and they keep cutting back to the people of the planet, and they're just weeping. You're like, oh my god, there's a really fun, I don't know. I love that discontinuity. It's a fun again trauma stuff.
Like, because like and then they end up saving the day, or then they kind of deal with it. Like I like that less so when it's. And it's not like they crack jokes about it, but less so when a planet just and a whole race of people
100%
destroyed. Yeah.
So then there's another after credit sequence, which is what happens is it's Pete and his grandpa sitting at the kitchen table, eating breakfast, and Pete's like, "Hey, I'm happy to mow the neighbor's yard or whatever, but like she's got a son who's like 40 and he's able-bodied. I don't like, it seems weird that I'm over there doing it when this guy's, and it's like a fun little thing, and the dad's like, the grandpa's like, oh, don't even get me started, and Pete's like, oh really, oh no, I could give me the tea. Like it's a fun like moment. But the thing that took it away, he's reading a newspaper that says Kevin Bacon spills all the secrets of his alien abduction, which fun from the Christmas special. But
I don't know.
There's a Christmas special where they kidnap Kevin Bacon to cheer Peter up on Christmas.
Oh.
Drax and Mantis don't really understand things, and they're like, "Oh, how can we cheer him up? Well, why don't we just get that Kevin Bacon guy that Peter's always talking about and kidnap him?" And it's fun, yeah. It's actually the Christmas special is amusing. It's like 45 minutes, good. But Peter is eating Magic Spoon cereal.
Okay.
Which, one, is gross, but two is it's just podcast advertising. There's something like, I don't know. I didn't like it. It like really fucked me up. Have you never heard a Magic Spoon commercial?
No.
Oh my god. So Magic Spoon is a low sugar, low carb, keto, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
Cereal.
Okay. I just saw this today when I was in the grocery aisle and like losing my mind about how expensive cereal was. I don't eat a lot of cereal until more recently, and I'm like, good god. And then I saw this stuff, and I was like, what is this?
Yes. It advertises on many podcasts, and it's just weird to see, like, because I can't imagine. Like, I assume those podcast guys are getting $15 a click or whatever. I don't think Marvel Studios needs that, so it's just a really fucking weird.
Like, you couldn't get Kellogg's,
Yeah,
Dig 'em Smacks doesn't exist in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, somewhat baffling. I mean, obviously, it's an after credits scene in a box that no one else is going to read.
Oh god, it's got that awful artwork on it, that style of artwork, Memphis or whatever, that I hate, with all people with like the big weird arms and ugh.
Yes, exactly.
I hate that graphic style.
And it doesn't taste good, because I ordered it one time because I was like, I think it's gluten free or whatever dumb diet I was at the time. I got some, and it's gross.
Yeah, no thanks.
It tastes like it's just close enough to cereal to be annoyed about how bad it is. Like, it's like that uncanny valley. It's just like, oh, this is almost good. Fuck you. Like,
how did you fuck up
it'd be better if it was worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. As far as Marvel movies goes, it's fine. I didn't really like it.
Have you watched anything good recently? Anything you want to tell the audience?
Desperately Seeking Susan. I revisited that for the first time in like 30 years. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
wow.
It was on Criterion. The director.
While you're looking it up, who's the lady in that? Madonna.
So the director, Susan Seidelman.
No, I didn't know that. I was thinking about a different movie. Now that anyway, sorry.
The director, Susan Seidelman, made this other movie I saw fairly recently, Smithereens, that was very good, and particularly after like revisiting this one, it's a very sort of natural progression from Smithereens. But it was nice. It was like this 80s screwball comedy that's not done like a screwball comedy exactly. And like I've forgotten that Aidan Quinn existed, and it was nice to see him again.
Is that the one she has like a leopard or something?
No, that's Who's That Girl. This one is like Rosanna Arquette is like a bored housewife who like reads the personals and gets obsessed, keeps seeing these like desperately seeking Susan, then Susan's responses, and has been following them for a while, and ends up going to like find them, like, oh, desperately seeking Susan, I'll be at the pier at this thing, and ends up going find him. Something ends up happening where she ends up like getting conked on the head and like loses her, like has amnesia because it's the 80s, and thinks maybe she's Susan, and Susan, who's Madonna, is like wrapped up in this like stolen Egyptians artifact thing because she's a bad girl. And it's a really like great role for Madonna at the time because she is this idolized figure who mainly just has to hang around and look sexy, but is also like a bad girl. So
I mean, that sounds about right.
But it was, I really enjoyed it. It was fun to revisit, and I highly recommend it.
Excellent. I have something to recommend, and I'm going to tell you about it in 1 second. I'm definitely thinking about it and not typing things in to remember the name of the book that I'm going to recommend. And there it is. So I was looking for new poetry to read because I went to school for poetry and haven't read fuck all since about 2006, maybe 2008.
So you finally got around to Seuss.
I mean, Theodore Geisel, he's good, little derivative. But I read Andrea Gibson, Take Me With You. And their name might be Andrea. I don't know. I didn't look any of this shit up. The point is, it is poetry that I normally wouldn't like because there's like pictures and it's done in a illustration, you should say. Like they drew some stuff on the side. I'm not trying to overplay it. It's not particularly great art, which always annoys me. I hate when poets try to like when they try to make the poem look like something. Fuck you. Having a drawing next to it. Fuck you. Which is a huge compliment to Andrea Gibson because really liked the book a lot, even with those problems going into it. So recommend Take Me With You, Andrea Gibson, if you're looking for some poetry.
Nice.
And that's it. That's my recommendations.
Nice.
If you want to play Vampire Survivors is now on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, it's fun.
A lot of
I got way too addicted to it on my phone. I think I like unlocked everything. Maybe not some of the DLC stuff, like everything else I ended up unlocking. All right, so for next week we're having a special guest who by request wanted to watch Hard Ticket to Hawaii, a boobalicious 80s movie from Andy Sedaris, who is just the name in ridiculous boob-filled 80s movies, including Malibu Express, Hard Hunted. Well, some of this is in the 90s, I should say, 80s and 90s. Let me do that again. Who made a whole bunch of boobalicious movies in the 80s and early 90s, including Malibu Express, Picasso Trigger, Guns, Hard Hunted, and Fit to Kill. So it'll be a very silly and fun watch, to be sure. So join us for that.
And of course, brother to Amy Sedaris, also the writer Sedaris that I remember his name.
David Sedaris.
David Sedaris,
all Greek people know
uncle.
Each other. Yeah, actually, Amy Sedaris and David Sedaris are related.
Yeah, I thought so. As I was saying the second one, but I was like, fuck it, I'll just go with it. It's the same dumb joke anyway.
Oh man, so he has a movie called Lethal Ladies, and lethal is an acronym, LETHAL, ladies.
Wait, hold on. Wait, whoa. Do you have it in front of you?
Or is that initialism?
That's initial. No. That's an acronym because you pronounce it lethal.
Yeah.
You have it in front of you because I would love to guess.
I don't know. It doesn't say what it stands for.
Oh, God damn it. Because I wanted to guess.
But it stars Julie Strain.
I'm going to guess anyway, and we won't know if I'm right. Okay. Ladies eliminating their hated antagonists lethally.
I love it. Yes, because you worked lethal into the thing. Love it.
I somewhat broke myself into a corner, to be honest with you.
but it's Lethal Ladies Return to Savage Beast. Or sorry, Lethal Ladies Return to Savage Beach. Like there have been ones that we've been missing. Just ridiculous stuff. So I'm looking forward to just to getting into the works of Andy Sedaris.
Yeah, I mean, it's we haven't had a lot of boobalicious episodes of this show, so I feel like this is nice.
Or just like famously, maybe.
Oh my God, was I wrong? It's the Legion to ensure total harmony and law.
That's way worse than yours. I'm sorry.
I didn't even get like a single fucking word right. That's
yours
annoying.
was more fun.
Also, bullshit having and.
Yeah.
You can't have and.
Should be lethal.
Because it's
lethal.
But it's Legion to ensure. If you're going to count the A in and, you have to count that T in two. So it should be Lati. Anyway. So we're going to watch, what did we say? Hard Ticket to Hawaii?
Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
And apparently it's on like Tubi or one of those free channels. So y'all should watch it, and we will catch up with you in a fortnight. Bye.
Goodbye.